My shoulder.
Sorry. Tonight I'll be refuting the claim restricting the drinking age to 21 is ineffective and endangers our youth. Why should we keep the minimum drinking age to 21? I often hear, we can't stop kids from drinking, so why don't we just lower the age to 18? They're adults. They can vote, marry, serve our country. They will drink anyway. How do we get the age of 21 in the first place? We have to look at the history to understand how the law came into being. After looking at how it all started, I will give my reasons why we should keep the drinking age at 21. In 1933, the decision to repeal prohibition was repealed. At the time, it was left to the states what the drinking age would be. Some states lowered the age from 21 after the 26th Amendment was adopted. By lowering the voting age to 18, some states lowered their respective drinking age from 1970 to 1976. 21 states reduced the drinking age. 8 other states reduced it to 19 or 20. Once this was done, these states saw an increase of alcohol-related fatalities among teenagers and young adults. Of the 29 states that had lowered the age limit, 24 raised it again between 1976 and 1984. Even with some states raising the age limit to 21, we're still seeing an increase in alcohol-related deaths. This was due to the blood borders. The state had a 21 limit, but the state bordering them had a limit of 18. The individuals were becoming injured or killed when returned from their home states. This leads me to my claim that the restriction of the drinking age to 21 is ineffective. I will be refuting the advocate's claim by 1, that it saves lives, and 2, of adolescent drinking. And then I will be going on to talk about his contradicting evidence. First, about saving lives. Drunk driving is indeed a problem in our society, though reducing the age limit to 18 would increase fatalities. In 2010, 288 individuals died from drunk driving. According to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, the highest drunk driving rates were found amongst the ages 21 to 25, 23.4%, and 18 to 20, 15.1%. To legalize drinking under the age of 21 would mean more that the 15.1% would be getting behind the wheel would raise significantly. The fatalities would also rise as well. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, increasing the minimum drinking age to 21 is credited with having saved 25,000 lives on the nation's highways between 1982 and 2005. The Department of Transportation did a study and found the rise has also led to a 19% net decrease in fatal crashes involving young drivers from the ages 18 to 25. Since 1984, when the age was made to 21, the law has been one of the most studied in our history. More than 50 highly quality scientific studies have all found the 21 law saves lives. My second point about adolescent drinking, the National Study of Adolescent Drinking Behavior found that 10th through 12th graders in states with lower drinking age drink significantly more, were drunk more often, and were less likely to abstain from alcohol. Additionally, national data shows that high school seniors who could not legally drink until the age of 21 drink less before age 21 and between the ages of 21 to 25, and students in the states with lower drinking ages. Now I'll talk about the contradicting evidence that my advocate gave. The advocate states that a study by the American Medical Association that 2 out of 3 age 13 to 18 teens said it is easy to get alcohol from their homes without their parents knowing about it. By lowering the drinking age to 18, this would allow permission to more teens for the permission of purchase of alcohol. That would give high schoolers and even middle schoolers easier access to alcohol. and increase the chances of more harm. Newly legal drinkers often purchase alcohol for their underage peers. This creates a trickle-down effect. This effect would expand to an even younger age group, making teens under 18 more susceptible to alcohol. The National Institute on Alcohol and Abuse and Alcoholism found that up to 86% of homicide offenders, 37% of assault offenders, and 60% of sexual offenders were using alcohol at the time of the crime. So this stat shows that crime would likely increase for the young group. The advocate also provides counter evidence against himself by stating if youth were instead able to drink in their own situations, they would be more in control and more likely to have someone nearby who could make reasonable decisions for them. Well, from his evidence in the American Medical Association study that showed how it's easy for teens to acquire alcohol from households, and another study done by the University of Minnesota that young females were 47 to 52 successful at buying beer from a local convenience store. These teens are indeed in their own situations that they've created for themselves. From the evidence he also provides from the National Institution of Alcohol and Abuse, that the youth who drink are more likely to carry out or be the victim of a sexual or physical assault. One can conclude that underage teens in the U.S. who choose to drink are unprepared and irresponsible in partaking in consuming alcohol, therefore justifying the law the drinking age should continue to be 21. In conclusion, the right to drink should continue to stay at the age of 21 because of dangers posed by drinking. Many rights in the U.S. are conferred on citizens at 21 or older. A person cannot legally purchase a handgun or gamble or adopt a child until the age of 21. To rent a car from most companies, you need to be 25 or run for president until age 35. So drinking should be similar, restricted to the responsibility required to oneself and to others. With this, I hope you can see the refute.
Yeah, a little overtime, as they say, happens pretty frequently. We're not going to let that happen when the debates come along. We'll shut you up right away. All right, Tommy, you need to be a little bit more assertive in speaking to the audience, and your claims, you need to have declarative sentences. Sometimes you're making half statements or just signposting something and not really making a claim or an inference. Like the whole thing, the second point is adolescent drinking. Well, what about adolescent drinking? The argument here seems to be that lowering the drinking age would result in increased adolescent drinking. That's a declarative sentence. That's what you need to say. There are a lot of places where you're not doing that. You're just giving us a label. Then you kind of give us an explanation. And sometimes the explanation isn't particularly clear. And I'm still wondering, what is the inference that you want us to make on those points? You need to be more consistent on that. You've got a long background on history before you actually get to specific claims. I think that that's actually useful because it does put it into context, but sometimes, like I said, you only partially explain what's going on. You mentioned the blood borders, for instance, without really explaining to the audience why they were relevant and why a consistent drinking age addresses that issue, why we needed to have the consistent drinking age between all of the states. You do give a background information that shows that when the states lowered the drinking age, we had substantial increases in drunk driving accidents and problems. So that sets the groundwork for the first point that you're making. Your counterclaim, basically, you just have two counterclaims. You present good evidence on those counterclaims. The first one especially, there's a lot of good information there. The second one, I didn't get any source citations on it, but I got the explanation on that. That's pretty good. Neither of those points directly addresses the advocate's evidence and reasoning. Indirectly, it addresses the concept of availability and whether or not the law is having any impact. That was the first point that the advocate was talking about. And then you kind of bring in some other issues toward the end, some of which I wasn't quite clear about. The crime issue, I guess the argument is that there are other problems that would occur as a result of lowering the drinking age. I wasn't sure what the point was that you were making at the end when you were talking about these conditions, they're creating their own conditions and so on and so forth. I thought the advocate's argument was if people could drink legally, they are more likely to do so in a situation where that it would be regulated and controlled. I think you are in essence arguing that that's not likely to occur, that people when they drink legally, they drink because they drink in the conditions that are created, that they create for themselves rather than the other way around. That's the way you need to state that argument. You need to be a little bit more forceful speaking to us, look at us a little bit more, and you need to get an editor too. All right.